Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Your Greatest Asset. Wanted to jump on real quick on my lunch break and just give some good news. I am coming out my low. So I wanted to give some practical tips on how to come out of your low. And then I'm going to give a little tidbit at the end that you probably don't hear too often. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But so some practical tips. I wanted to start off by saying, one of the first things you need to do is start examining your thoughts and backtrack. So backtrack to where you started feeling low and just notice the time period. Notice if there's anything going on or anything that went down, if it's a time of year or, something situational that could have caused you to start feeling low. And then, little by little, you just kept getting lower and lower. And then also like your self-talk. So when I say examine your thoughts, examine how you're speaking to yourself. Is your thought life positive? Is it negative? Sometimes we're kind of predisposed to negative self-talk depending on how we were raised and who we were around growing up. So if you're, in your thoughts telling yourself negative things like you're not good enough or, everything you do, turns to crap or I don't know, just not thinking positively. On the outside, I can look positive and on the inside, I can be all these negative things in my head. I seen this video where they were asking women, the kind of self-talk that they do that's negative, and they shared it. Some of it was really bad, some of the things that names they would call themselves. And then it's like, okay, well now I want you to talk to your sister and tell her the same exact things that you tell yourself. And they're all like, no. So why, if you're not going to tell someone else some of the negative things that you, or call the names that you call yourself in your head to somebody else that you love, why on earth would you say that to yourself? So, like number one, examine where it began and work backwards. And self-talk, so talk positively to yourself, because it's so important how we speak to ourselves. You're with yourself all the time, there's no escaping it. So if you have to learn to love yourself. And so some ways I try to combat that is if I catch myself, so you got to start catching your thoughts. And if I catch myself talking negative, I speak at least 2 to 3 positive things that are opposite of what I've been telling myself to not reinforce that idea, to not reinforce the negative thought. So if I'm like, dang, I'm not getting anything accomplished, because that's a big thing for me, being in the middle. So I start examining, what I've been doing and like, okay, and give myself some credit where it's due. Another thing is to remove points of tension. So I've been working out for about 18 weeks or so like that. And even during this low, I was forcing myself to work out. And it was just a point of contention. Every time I was coming home, I was like, dang, I don't want to do this. And a lot of times people say like, that's when you need to work out the most. But you got to listen to your body, you got to listen to yourself. And, last week I took the week off. I was like, I'm going to get back to my normal self. I took the week off working out, and it really did help my mental state outside of some other things that I was doing. So another thing would be take action. If you have things that you want to get done, take action on them. Like for me, a lot of the things that the first things that kind of go when I go into a low are things that, my self-care, cleanliness in the house. I don't get super dirty. It can get like that if I'm in a really bad state of mind, but that also can contribute to a down or continue to perpetuate the down spiral. So what I would do is I set a timer. So say I need to do the dishes, I'll set a timer for 5 minutes, and whatever I can get done in 5 minutes, if the timer goes off, I'm done, and then sometimes, 5 minutes is up and I'm like, well, you know what, I'm already halfway through. So I keep going and I clean the whole kitchen, and no matter how long it takes. And then once you're done, you feel accomplished. You feel like you've done something. And then that thing I was going to mention at the end that you probably don't hear too often is, what are you doing that's contributing to your down? And for me, once I started feeling a little bit low, I started smoking weed. I went to something that was familiar. And for me, I have nothing against weed. I used to smoke a lot of weed when I was younger. But now that I'm, in my mid to late 30s, it's not just something that works for me anymore. And I know this. And, the definition of insanity is just keep doing the same thing over and over. However, when something is familiar you tend to gravitate towards it. And what I should have done was lean into my faith, lean into God, lean into him, rather than go to something that was familiar, that's going to be going the complete opposite route of my goals, dreams, and honestly my faith. So with that said, those are like my little tips. Real quick video here, and I'm doing great. I'm doing good. I have a lot of good things coming my way, and just know that you do too. You're not the only one going through something. Just realize that you're not alone. You know, and a little bonus here, if you need to talk to someone, talk to someone. My biggest advice is to, if you're not in therapy, get into therapy. There's nothing wrong with therapy. And if you're not on therapy, then do some self-development book, or some positive audios that are going to podcasts that are going to uplift your spirits or help you think in a different way. Because again, our mindset is so powerful, and if you just tell yourself, you know, you're gonna get through this, it's something to look forward to. It's something to tell yourself that you're not as bad as it could be. Even though sometimes it feels like that, the last thing you want to do is hear someone tell you it's not as bad as it is. But you know, it's attitude of gratitude, and that's huge. You know, if you're grateful for stuff, you can find the blessings in things, you can find the silver lining in something. It goes a long way. And again, going back to contributing to your low, doing things that you know go against your moral code, going against things that you just know you shouldn't be doing, and you do it anyway. Really check yourself, do a self check-in, and get better. So I hope you've had some revelations in this, and I know they're really basic tips, but they really can go a long way if you can start self-examining and just looking within. So I love you. I hope you're having a great day, and I wish you well.